Hey, how's it going? I'm Chris with PearsonCopy.com, and I'm here to help your brands make more sales with email. As part of my 100 emails in a 100-day breakdown challenge, I'm going to be breaking down an email from a brand called Westpaw. They sell pet toys and pet accessories. And this email caught my attention because I myself am a dog owner and I'm around dogs pretty often. And their subject line actually got my attention because it's a general benefit or general promise, toys for any size pup. Um, and I think that they do a handful of things right with this email. And there's also a few things that I think we could improve on or test on and see what it would do for the list and for their revenue. So this email is a product email. It looks like just a general newsletter sending out information about products that you could buy as a customer. So yeah, with that context, let's go ahead and dive in and break this down. So like I already mentioned, the toys for any size pup subject line, I think it's a good start. It does offer a benefit for clicking into the email. You get to find a toy for your pup no matter what their size is. I think testing this subject line or email in general and going for each type of size or each category of size and setting its own email would actually probably get better results. That's something you can test against. That could be right, could be wrong. I don't know. It just depends on what you do there. So, and the way you can test that, the way you can build out categories or segments that way is down here. They have petite pups, medium mutts, and huge hounds. So they use alliteration, right? And essentially just finding a way inside your email software to categorize that. So, or segment that, right? So you can say like any toy that's an a large with an L or an XL with XL, that could be huge hounds. Medium pups could be a small or could be a medium, and the petite pups could be small or extra small, something like that. So there's a way with the products that you already sell and the categories you have them in and the way you have them organized, you can segment out your list based on that, based on viewed products and also purchased products into different groups, and then send specific emails for that size of dog or size of animal, and get really specific on the copy. So a dog that's like this corgi, looks like a corgi here, even this little nugget, so they have a little humor personality going on. That selling to somebody who has a corgi versus somebody who has maybe this shepherd is going to be different. They're both dogs, they're both dog owners, but the reasons they have these dogs are probably different. Um, I'd imagine they are, and I would do research and just get to know your customers and see if it is different. But I would guess that it is. The reason I have my dog, who's a medium-sized dog, and she's a shepherd mix, is totally different than why my cousin, who has I think a Pomeranian, why she has a Pomeranian is totally different than why I have my shepherd mix. And so, speaking to the size of the dog, why they have that dog, and then what they're trying to do with the toy, that's going to be different too. Somebody who has potentially a corgi or Pomeranian or a smaller dog most likely isn't using toys for training. They're using toys for attention or just keeping the dog distracted while they do something else. Somebody who has a shepherd probably can use a toy for the same reason. But this is research. You do research and figure this out. But people who have medium or even large dogs, they use toys for attention and distraction, but also for training. There are some dog breeds where they're not food motivated, but they're toy motivated, and they want a toy for a reward. So getting a toy that lasts and makes sense for their dog. Those reasons, toy rewards versus food reward versus attention distraction versus this dog's destructive and I'm chewing on it. It's chewing on everything, and I can't find something that will last longer than 10 minutes. Those are all different reasons for buying a toy or not buying, right? It's an objection too. So don't get that is segmenting out your group or your list based on size of dog or types of toys, and then knowing why they buy those toys or what the objections are to not buying those toys. It's going to change the copy. It's going to alter the copy enough to where sending separate emails makes sense. With that being said, we're going to go a little deeper here in the email. So you got the brand name here with a U.S. flag, and it looks like a certification here, a menu below that. So something here that I've talked about in other emails, I haven't seen a menu like this in a little while, in about a dozen emails, is that this menu actually distracts and potentially takes away from somebody buying a toy. So it's something you can test, right? But I would remove this menu entirely, because if you're saying, hey, toys for any size pups or any size pup, you're selling toys. So sell toys. One offer, one promise, one product, one, the concept or the principle of one thing per email, right? And that's why I say break out these emails into one category or one type of or one size of dog. It just makes and this isn't like an opinion thing. This is just what it makes it easier for the brain to consume and actually understand what's going on with what it's consuming. So your brain can actually get really confused if there's too many options. I believe it was anywhere like over 5 or 6 options. Your brain starts to get confused and back off and say, I don't want to make a decision. There's too many here. That's why at the grocery store, when you pick up ketchup or mustard or mayo or some kind of condiment, and there's more than 3 or 4, maybe 5 options, you're like, I don't know which one to pick. A lot of people pick the same brand or the same type every time because it's easier. It's a shortcut, right? It's a shortcut for your brain to say, hey, that's the one we always get, and it hasn't failed us. We took a risk once and it works, and we're gonna stick with this. We're not gonna change brands because it's too dangerous. It takes too much energy to decide. Your brain's thinking, hey, I gotta spend a bunch of energy to change and figure out why I need to change and what to do if something goes wrong. It just makes it harder for your brain if you make somebody focus on more than one thing in one sitting with an email or with anything in general, right? Kids are the same way. If you give more than a couple options, they kind of get confused and say, I don't know, you pick for me. So, and with people being on the internet, they're distracted, right? So people on the internet usually have multiple tabs open. They have their phone next to them. Maybe they have a messenger open. They have Facebook Messenger open. Something, they're distracted. So if you give them more than one thing to focus on or one thing to pick from when it comes to products or concepts or ideas, it's potentially going to confuse them, which means they're not going to buy. Confusion causes lost sales, right? If you're confused, you're not going to make a decision, which means you back off and you don't make a decision. Um, so that's why the one thing per email concept makes why it clicks and it makes sense and it works. So that's something here is this menu is actually causing more decisions than what's needed. So toys make sense because you're selling toys, so you can leave that. But treats, beds, and accessories, those things are not included in the concept of this email. So I would test removing the menu entirely because you've got a CTA for the toys down here, right? And just see if that gets you better click through. Also, if it increases sales. So yeah, there's a rant there on the menu. The next piece here, we've got, let's see. So this is just the promise. So it's a repeat of the headline repeat of the subject line as the headline. This is the benefit and or the promise. And they use a little, like I mentioned before, they use a little humor here, even this little nugget for the corgi looking dog. So I think the personality in this is there, and I appreciate that, and I think that they're doing a great job here. Westpaw is by adding a little humor, a little personality, even though it's brand presented, not a person doing this, but a brand actually doing this. It adds a little humor, adds a little connection. It's like, oh, yep, that's funny. That's what I call my dog, or that's a funny name for a small dog. It gets people to lean in and connect. The next piece here is the copy. Looks like we've got 2 sentences here, but I really appreciate this copy. This is a great copy. So let me read through it and we'll break down what's going on here. So to all the petite pups, medium mutts, and huge hounds, we've got something for you, fur buddies. We've handpicked our top toys for all dog sizes. So they're showing us their best sellers for each of these types of each size of category of size, right? So something that they do really well here is use alliteration. So petite pups, medium mutts, huge hounds makes it really easy for the brain to read and remember. So there's a tag to hound or big dog. It's huge hound. It's a nickname, right? People are going to remember that way easier than just saying big dog. It's very general. There's not really an emotional connection to it. It's just general, right? It's big dog. But if you say huge hound, like, yeah, I have a huge hound, or I have a medium mutt, or I have a petite pup. They relate more directly to that because one, alliteration, and two, it gives it a nickname, right? It gives it a specific name for their dog. And people might start using huge hound as a nickname for their big dog if they haven't already. So that right there pulls people in. It's entertaining, right? It's easy to say. People might say it out loud because it's like, oh, that sounds good in my head. I'm going to say it out loud and see how it sounds aloud. And then we've got something for you, fur buddies. So they're speaking directly to the dogs, and so it's like, hey, pet owners, step aside. We're talking to your dogs. This is for you. We've handpicked our top dog toys for all dog sizes. So here is the promise. So if you have a petite pup, medium mutt, or huge hound, here's what we did for you. We're giving, right? Trying to create some reciprocity to where you'll buy from us. So yeah, this piece of copy does a lot of work for this email. Frankly, if you took this and just made it the first line, plain text, the first line, and then listed the products, you may or may not, some of the tests, get more clicks or more sales because of that, because you don't have to worry about the images loading or not loading, or that distraction from people reading because they don't want to go through the images and find what's actually going on here in the offer. So that's something maybe you can put in the headline. If we've handpicked our top toys for all dog sizes, it seems like that would make more sense at the top here instead of buried kind of in the middle. So anyway, there's a lot of things you can test and just mess with the copy and the images, etc., in your messaging. Next section here, I didn't put a note because it's pretty straightforward. Exactly what the copy says. So they got these toys for petite pups, they've got these for medium mutts, and these for huge hounds. And you can click into each one saying, "Yep, I have a petite pup. Let's go look at toys." So I think this works great. The love it guarantee. The fact that this brand puts a guarantee in their emails is fantastic. I don't see this very often in brand in design first or just brand emails in general, because the guarantee is actually a risk reducer or a risk risk reversal, right? So it's like, well, I don't really know. What if my dog doesn't like it? What if it breaks? I buy toys all the time and they're not great for my dog, or my dog, doesn't like it. And like, I spent however much money, 15, 20, 30 bucks on a toy and they don't like it. This removes that objection, right? It addresses that objection and removes the risk for the customer of saying, hey, if you buy a toy, your dog doesn't like it, we'll replace it. And if it doesn't induce happiness, we want to induce happiness, so let's find a toy that your dog's going to like. This guarantee right here does a lot to move the customer from I don't know to I'll go shop or I will buy. So objections and reasons why not to buy get addressed with this guarantee. So if you're not using the guarantee, I would suggest finding one that makes sense and is actually a risk reversal. So it takes all the risk away from the customer, or at least as much as you can with your business, and it gives them a reason to say, hey, we got your back. Buy. We'll take care of you. You got this fun picture, looks like a Jack Russell here, a smaller dog playing with a toy. And then a few more pieces here in this email. So sign up for text. This is great. I absolutely love moving people from email into SMS and sharing those two channels and like using it in tandem, right? The one thing here is sign up for text, text Paul to sign or sign up here. There's really no benefit or reason or promise for me to do this. If it's just because if the brand's like, yeah, our emails are great, our texts are too, say that. Like even just saying, hey, if you love our emails, our texts are even better, or we pair this with our emails so you never miss an email again, or you never miss a product drop, or you never miss a discount, or whatever. Make some kind of promise or benefit for the customer actually taking the effort to do this. If you don't, they're just going to scroll right past it and say, yeah, I don't want another text. This is boring. I don't want it. Or they're not even going to see it because there's nothing really to lean in for, right? So this is one thing I think they could update is give me a reason to sign up for text, not just because we said so. Because we said so is probably one of the hardest reasons to convince somebody with, because most people, when you say because we said so, they back off and say, well, I say different, so I'm not going to do it. Resistance goes up real quick, right? So yeah, there's that. And the last few pieces, we got the social media icons, which are great. They use color instead of the gray. Dog's best friend tagline, and then you have the store locator and questions at the bottom. So overall, I think that Westpaw is doing a great job with their emails. I think a few things they could adjust and test into. Also, the things that they're doing great. I think their tagline, their subject line, tagline, and this piece of copy here, and the way they're using the different size categories for dogs. Those are great. So those are the big insights I would take away. Toys for any size pup. I would test into sending specific emails for each size as opposed to just a general any size pup email. I think the humor and the personality that they use inside of this with the fur buddies, the alliteration, even this little nugget, this phrase here, fantastic. Keep doing that. You lean into it more. If there's nicknames, phrases, colloquialisms, like anything you can think of to make people go, oh, that's funny, or that's cute, or I like that. Lean into it. And the last thing, the products. So breaking these out into categories is super helpful. Once they're into petite pup toys, you can break them out into maybe hardness or difficulty or attention span, anything like that. Anytime you can get more specific on what you're selling to a specific set of customers, the more likely you're going to make more sales. Specificity usually makes more sales typically. So there are cases where you want to go more general, but they're pretty rare. So those are the three big insights. Take those back to your emails, use them, execute on them. Please let me know if you use them and you get results. I'd really like to hear what happened, what you did, and how that's going to help you moving forward. Otherwise, go check out my other videos here on YouTube. At the time of this recording, I have over 70 videos breaking down e-com emails like this, and I'm going to 100. So keep up with me. Subscribe to my channel. Like these videos, comment, ask questions. I'm here to engage and help you guys out. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching.